Hey everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where we give you healthier versions of things that you love to eat and not complicated. So today we're going to do my version of avocado toast. Now, in general, it's a fairly decent option, but there's a couple of tweaks that I make that can make it a healthier option for you and your family. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about today is that I'm not going to necessarily be measuring anything, although I do want to recommend at some point that you get a food scale. Now, I've had people say, well, isn't that a little too much? You're a little too detail oriented. When you're very first starting a health goal, you kind of need to track some progress and some things that you're doing. So in order to figure out where you are, yeah, you probably should do some measuring and weighing of your food, because that way, if you're putting it into MyFitnessPal or some other form of tracking, you're actually getting it right and not just guesstimating, because I would dare say that a lot of people that guesstimate get it really, really wrong. So really super important. Now, that's not saying that you have to measure it forever and ever and ever. It's just saying that in the beginning, when you want to really get a defined notion of what you're eating on a regular basis, it's probably a good idea to be a little more strategic and specific on what you're currently eating. So it's not a bad idea. And you guys, it's $20. So not a bad tool to have in your wheelhouse. Okay, so here's what I mean by a healthier version. Now, depending on what you have your avocado toast on, I know I get in trouble all the time. My kids say, it's avocado, Mom, not avocado. You know what? Tomato, tomato. Get over it. I'll call it what it is. So, I actually am more concerned about the bread per se. So, if you are eating, even if you're eating something considered multi-grain, that alone does not make it a healthy option. As a matter of fact, the first thing that you need to do is read the ingredient list, because it's going to tell you whether or not it's a good option. So, the majority of the people that I work with, they're like, well, I read the nutrition label. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't give you enough information. And so keep in mind that it's really in your best interest to pay attention to the ingredients as well. So there's a lot of new options out there, especially with people becoming healthier and paying more attention. And I'm not saying that none of them are good, but I'm going to tell you what I use and why. So a lot of people are out there using Dave's Killer Bread. I know that there's a keto option. Just realize that no matter what it is, there is some form of process that has to be done to it. And a lot of them do contain regular old flour, which is, now you can make your own, by all means. And if you have a really great sourdough start, that's not a bad option either, but just keep in mind that most people should not be eating those kind of grains because they're processed and enriched flour, bleached white, whatever. I don't even care what it is. Yeah, most of us shouldn't be eating gluten in general. So the one that I currently use, because I do try to be as gluten-free as possible, I do have an autoimmune disease, so I use sprouted Ezekiel bread, and it is flourless. Now, again, it does have grains, but they're sprouted, and that is a big difference because that means they're unprocessed. Now, keeping that in mind, realize you have to either keep this in the fridge. Now, that's only for a short amount of time. It will still go bad. Or the freezer. So I do keep mine in the freezer until I'm ready to use it. Then I just bring it out and I pop it in my toaster so that it's no longer frozen. So I'm gonna pop these in the toaster real quick. Just all the way back here. Okay, and let that go. And then I'm gonna tell you what I do to mine to make it a little more protein dense. Now, there's of course multiple things that you can do with it, but personally, I like to use chicken. So I've actually got some chicken that I've crock potted, although you can use canned white chicken if that's, an option for you at the moment. Again, realize it's processed to a certain degree, but it's still better than a lot of the other options that are out there. So this is just some regular chicken breast that I've cooked in a crock pot. I tend to make up the whole crock pot and batch cook that, because then I can pull from it as I need it. Now, I'm going to use my avocado as my mixer or my fat content. And I'm just gonna use fresh avocado. We go through quite a bit of avocado. Sorry to my kids, avocado. I know they're rolling their eyes at me right now. I'm going to add that to my chicken, and then I'm just gonna mash it all together. You guys, this is super, super simple. Takes me all of a few minutes to do. I'm gonna kind of cut it to begin with just so that it mashes a little bit faster. Now again, how much you use really is determined by what your goals are and what your macros are for the day. I am a believer in macronutrients. While I'm not staunchly into if it fits your macros, because I feel like there's too many loopholes and people kind of do the whole, well, it's ice cream, so it's a carbohydrate. I'm like, yeah, it's also fat and processed. It just doesn't work well that way. Okay, so I'm gonna add this to it. See, and my toast is toasting. My bread's toasting right now. And then I'm just gonna mash it together. Now you can mash it up first, but I like to actually get it throughout the chicken itself. And I'm just gonna add it to my bread and add some seasoning. Now, cool thing is, you can totally make it your own recipe. I've seen it with an over easy egg, which to be honest sounds amazing. I've seen it with either pumpkin or sunflower seeds on it for some crunch, which is a great idea. You can add a little bit of lemon juice for some tang to it. You could, there's quite a bit, some tomatoes or some vegetables, if that's something that you like and choose. Like I said, really what I love about my version of it is that I am not getting any gluten in my bread. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more avocado so I have it. I like my avocado. Okay, so let me add a little bit more to that. My toast is done. Yeah, I don't tend to use a whole avocado all at once, and so I keep it in a container in my fridge, but I usually use it within the day. Of course, you don't want something that's underripe because A, it's not gonna taste as good, and B, it's not gonna be soft enough to mash it up and use it. It just doesn't taste as good when it's underripe. Okay, looks so good. Now I've also seen avocado toast with whole pieces of the avocado. Your choice. I just like it to be mashed up with my chicken. I just like it better that way. So then to that, now you could put the sprinkles on top of the seasoning, but I'm actually gonna mix it in. I personally, my daughter discovered this at Trader Joe's, but now Walmart carries it as well. Everything bagel seasoning is fantastic. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that to my mix. And that's got a little bit of salt to it, so that'll make it perfect. But you could just add some salt and pepper if you choose. Now remember, if you are eating very, very clean, it's actually necessary to add salt to your nutrition, because if you don't, it actually disturbs your electrolyte balance. The reason why we're all being told eat less salt is because processed American food has a ton of sodium. And so then our electrolyte balance gets off, and then we retain water and we feel miserable. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my toast and lick my fingers. And really, that's all there is to it. I'm gonna scoop that onto my toast, spread it out, and there you go. Super easy, super simple, not a lot of ingredients. I just can't do complicated. I love to bake, which around the holidays can be a problem, but I'm not huge on cooking, so I have to make it as easy and as quick as possible and uncomplicated. I just can't do anything that takes a lot of work. That's just not my thing. So have an incredible Saturday, you guys. Have a great week, and hopefully this works for something that might be a great snack or a great breakfast for you. If you have any ideas that would work, that we would love to share, we share all this information for free, because why not help each other? Let me know. Post it down below. You can also message me direct at Facebook Messenger. Have an incredible day, you guys. Bye-bye now.